Hi everybody. Let's talk about one of our favorite money center banks today, Citigroup. Wow, it's just as favorite as any other bank around, or so. I'm Martin from Robalyst, and once again, we won't be talking about numbers only, because they can't really help us understand what's going on. Instead, we'll focus on the drivers behind the numbers, which will allow you to figure out a very good picture of the company by yourself. That's very important. You can learn to understand corporations like an expert, and you will be able to make great decisions on what stocks to buy and sell yourself. We can see a pretty bleak overall picture for Citi, which is common for most banks in the past few quarters. Net revenue increased 1%, and the main reason for this mediocre but still positive result is an 18% surge in principal transactions, which reflects Citi's own trading activities. On the chart to the right, we see that principal transactions brought $2.8 billion for the company, and we can imagine the situation without those very successful trades the bank booked this quarter. Net interest revenue, which is by far the most important generator, fell 1.4% due to rising interest expenses, which went up 19%. Citi's funding costs are high, and they are not going lower despite the falling interest rates in the US and around the world. The company's global consumer banking division was hit by a 6% slump in retail banking revenue, while the institutional division, which fared better, rising 3%, was also negatively impacted by a 5% fall in net interest income. Citi's North American business is another segment that didn't grow precisely because of institutional clients, where revenues fell almost 7%. If you're live on Robalyst, you can browse the other banks and you'll quickly gain an understanding of who is winning and who's losing with institutional clients. Latin America revenues fared much worse, shrinking 6% because of retail banking there, which cratered 23%. LATAM is the smallest of Citi's geographic locations, but still brings $2.6 billion in revenues for the company each quarter. Fortunately for Citi, the other two regions were real bright spots. EMEA revenues rose 7%, driven by debt underwriting and institutional advisory, while Asia posted strong 6%, fueled by 8% rise in institutional deposits. So, Citi might be losing some big business in the US, but it's doing very well in Asia and Europe. If we turn to the chart on the left, we'll see that Citi is a true global banking group and how strategic decisions on business structure impact sales and profitability. Let's check Wall Street opinions, which show expectations for moderately rising revenues and falling profits. Just as usual, the bar on the bottom line is set low, and it won't be hard to beat such expectations. I'd like to turn now to a new feature Robalyst is introducing called Strategic Drivers. This is a high-level overview of important initiatives for the company. So last quarter, Citi focused on developing two things. The first one is IT infrastructure, and the second one Citi was focusing on was developing its own credit cards. It's precisely IT spending that weighted on the company's pre-provision profit, which came out flat, rising only 0.4%. At the same time, Citi put some efforts into optimizing its tax burden, which fell 4.2 percentage points to boost net income growth to 3%. I should mention that Robalyst adjusted this figure by excluding 180 million in one-time tax benefits booked this quarter. To wrap up, I should highlight that it's very alarming that Citi's funding costs remain high, even though the interest rates in the US are declining. At the same time, Citi's Asia operations become more and more important as a driver of any kind of growth. And we know that the growth potential there comes with any kind of political and structural risks. A counterpoint that shows Citi's strength is their outstanding progress with institutional clients outside the US and attracting institutional deposits in particular. So, if you want to issue some bonds or park a few billion for your organization, you know where to go. At least, many people abroad are thrilled to do business with the big American bank. I heard it was an honor. Thanks a lot for listening. I know that banks can be dull, but at the same time they can be very interesting. Something like Shylock and Antonio from The Merchant of Venice. If you like Shakespeare, you got double the reason to go and check www.robalyst.com. If you don't like Shakespeare, you can at least check some corporate stuff, because we got the answers there. Subscribe to our channel and tell us what you think on Twitter too. Next earnings season starts now and much more is coming down the corner. See you soon.